So I'm watching House LLC. And I've watched it before, but I'm watching it again to do a review. And I want to start by saying I love the way it starts. It starts with like news reports and making it feel like this is a real event that we're living through. I love movies. I love the way that feels in movies because it makes it feel very realistic. And so then they show you this footage of like YouTube captured footage of people in this event. And they show you them walking through the haunted house, and it's your basic haunted house stuff.
To make the YouTube video, and then the 911.
Basic like spooks and spoils, scary clowns and stuff like that. And then they get to what I'm assuming would be like the basement area. I couldn't really tell because it's like shaky hand footage. And they're getting rushed up, like everyone's screaming, "Go back, go back, go back!" And you see chaos of everyone running around. The camera falls, like obviously she picks her camera back up because I'm assuming it's a phone. And then they get out the building and you can hear like fire crackling. I could hear fire crackling, so I assumed it was a fire, but I didn't see a fire. And then you see a fire truck, and it's just like, okay, this is what it's leading to. So I definitely love the way this movie's starting out. I know I've watched this before, but I don't remember any of this. What I like right now is they're showing a lot of photos from the, I guess, crime scene. But, so apparently it's a hotel. And, it wasn't a fire. They're trying to, like, this guy's talking, and he's like, they said it was a gas leak, but that can't be true because of all the blood everywhere. He's saying he broke into the hotel to look at the evidence, like the building. And you see blood on the floor, blood on the walls, and he takes pictures of the basement stairs, and you see very distinguishable handprints of blood. My thing is, and so far, the movie just started, I can't say anything yet. If this is a crime scene, and it happened not too long ago, but a good bit ago, why is there blood still there? Because don't people usually clean that up within like a week of the crime happening? I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm probably very wrong. I'm just curious.
I guess that's what we're all wondering, what really
So right
happened.
now the movie's set up
Can you help?
in interview style. It's somebody interviewing a bunch of people about this hotel tragedy that happened.
Take us back to the beginning.
But we don't know what happened in the tragedy. Like, we don't know exactly what's happening. So right now they're interviewing a hotel staff member that says if people knew what really happened.
It's everything. Like, everything that went on in the house was taped, mostly by Paul and Tony, some tour goers.
How did you get
I'm
these
liking the way this is going.
I got to them first.
It feels...
Well, why didn't you give them to the police?
You'll see.
Feels maniacal in a
Mitchell's
good
gonna
horror
go ahead and
sense.
just...
So now we're getting into like the found footage aspect. One of the employees who was doing the interview gave them footage from the workers at the haunted hotel, haunted attraction, and
in today's edition,
also hotel footage, like cameras from the event. So I'm assuming the rest of the movie is gonna be basically like found footage. I swore I've seen this before, but I don't remember any of this. So what we're learning right now is that this group of friends decides to sneak into an abandoned hotel to turn it into a haunted attraction. And this is where we're at. So I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed it. While they're going through this hotel, I'm hearing whispers in the back of the audio. And I don't think it's any of the people. It sounds like this when they're talking, while everyone else is talking normally. So I'm guessing it's a haunting, not like an axe murderer kind of movie. So they show you where they kind of put the camera down and you see this big tall figure, which I noticed during the YouTube footage and when they first entered the hotel. So, okay, you gotta keep your eyes paid attention to this movie. It's pretty good so far, and I'm only 20 minutes in. Sorry. So this guy is talking to the camera and he's like basically documenting that he's horny. And there's no pussy for him. But then as he's talking, this figure of a person comes past the doorway. So it's walking into the doorway, and it stands there. And he doesn't notice it at first, but I did. And then it looks like it comes forward, like more into the room, and he thinks it's Sarah, the only girl in this little crew. And then he says Sarah, and he's like, "What's up, dude?" But nothing. It looks like it walks back and back out the doorway. But this is a very tall figure of a person because it looks like their head is like at the door frame. So it's getting good. Okay, so the original guy who's, I'm guess, like part of this documentary in the beginning, he's talking again and he goes, a police officer spoke to him and he said he found one of the crew members with a self-inflicted, basically slit throat. So I'm thinking it has to be like a possession, but so far this is really fucking good for, excuse me, so sorry, 2015, like, I don't want to say B-rate movie. This is really fucking good, and I love B-C movies. So, I don't remember any of this, and I know I've watched it. I have it on DVD. It's really good. And so, they said that one of the crew members was found in the basement, but he was alive, and the police tried to get him to talk about what he saw, and he wouldn't. His Joey. And then, apparently 9 days later, it says he hanged himself. Would the proper term not be hung himself? I don't know. Either way, whatever he saw was so traumatic that he had to hang himself. Like, that's the trauma. I'm feeling like it's leaning way towards possession. So Alex, the kind of like one who set all this up, was just proven to kind of be a liar. One of the newest crew members, I believe Melissa, just told him, and I think his name is Paul, I could be wrong, yeah, Paul, about the fact that this place is haunted and the previous owner hung himself and probably did satanic shit in the basement, which Alex did not disclose to anyone before coming to this hotel and making them stay there and settle there. So I'd personally beat his ass and then I'd go home. I love that it's giving us some backstory now, like the hotel, apparently a mother and daughter went missing there, and when his business started to fail, the owner, I forget what he said his fucking name was, hung himself in the dining hall. So I love that we're getting backstory, because I normally hate documentary-esque movies, but this one is really good. So we just kind of get a jump scare, but it's not really a jump scare. The cameraman goes looking down the basement, or goes looking through the attraction. You see these dummies, the way they're set up, and it looks really cool. And then you see this big clown. What you, I guess, are assumed to think that it's a dummy, but I thought it was a person staring down the basement steps. And when he looks back up, the person is facing him. So he's like, "Oh, well, let me know when you want to get back to work." Like, "Hi, you got me." And then he goes in the living room, and they're all there. So who was in the dummy? Like, who was in the clown costume? He runs to the basement, and it's just on the floor like a prop again. So this is really good, and it feeds on your fear of like hauntings. It feeds on your paranoia. Do like a test run just of like a hallway with like 3 dummies, and they turn out the lights, they hit the strobes, and it's supposed to be like that, like test to see if it's scary, which it does look very intense. But then as the strobes are going, you as a person can see something else appearing. And the cameraman sees it too, and he asked how many, I forget what he calls them, but I'm just going to call them dummies. How many do we have? And he says 3. Creeps. He said, how many creeps do we have? He says 3. There's more than 3, and you can see another, I want to say almost zombie-esque looking one appear. And he starts to panic and try to get out the room. Now at this point in my brain, I'm thinking, why wouldn't you cancel the attraction if you know that somebody else is on the grounds? So we've got the first major jump scare of the movie. The 3 out of the 5 of them, I think it was only 3 because I only saw 3 of them actually interacting in this scene. The cameraman, Alex, and his girlfriend, well, the 2 men wake up to find that big clown dummy outside their door, like blocking the hallway. And they smack it like it's not moving. He's like, oh, it's whatever. They go exploring in the building late at night, and they see Sarah kind of off in a corner mumbling, so seemingly kind of possessed, in my opinion. But they start exploring more, and something just isn't eerily right. Like, you can feel it's uncomfortable. And the clock goes off, like that ding 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 of a clock. The table's all set up with candles, and they turn around and the big clown dummy is right behind them. They freak out and they start running. So at this point, they know this building is fucking haunted, or somebody else is in this building with them. Like, that's where my mind is going. So I'm gonna pick up my tent and leave. Like, I'm not playing around. I want to know why they still continue to have this event, knowing something is going on. The thing I'm liking about this movie is that it's showing us the jump scares before they jump scare the characters. Like, we just came into a scene with Paul where he's sleeping and he flicks the camera on, I guess to have some light before he actually wakes up, and you can see what I'm assuming was a prop dummy on the floor, and then he's like stretching, you don't even realize it, and then when he realizes it is when we like jump, because like it's a jump scare for all of us, even though we already knew it was there. And then they just kind of show you that Paul has disappeared now. And so they just had like their own encounter where everything is like starting to move and shit. And then they find Paul in the basement, who I think has been like missing all day in a sense. Or maybe a couple of hours. But I think Paul is possessed. And they're blaming Paul for everything, like the piano playing and the props moving. But literally, I think Paul is possessed. So we're at the night of the haunt, and the walkies aren't working. The customers are starting to show up. And things are slowly starting to go wrong. And my whole thing is, this is all Alex's fault. I'm assuming he's in debt or something because he has like a big secret that he won't tell anyone. That's why they have to continue, so I'm assuming he's in debt. But, yeah. It's like you could literally, the second guests start arriving, things are going wrong. And Paul is still basically mentally comatose, so I'm assuming Paul like murders everyone and then slices his own throat, maybe. So my main issue with the found footage movies, especially this one right now, is you can't see action. So found footage from a party goer, they're in the basement and you have the one girl who's tied up screaming, this isn't part of the show, and she's screaming for Joey, who's in that big clown costume, to help her let her out. He has the key, but he takes off. And she's screaming, help me, this isn't part of the show, and you see these two semi, cultish, demonic figures appear, and, it's all jumbled, the camera's glitching out, and then the camera drops, and you're kind of just like, I hate found footage, because I can't fully see what's going on. I'm so burpy right now, because I had tacos, and they make me burpy, belchy, whatever. So as all the guests are leaving out, the only people left are the camera crew, the crew. And they run to the basement, I'm assuming to help the girl that's trapped down there. But something is taking over the house. It's slamming doors, the dummies are popping up, and you can tell something is just not right. Obviously, this whole movie is being haunted, but they're not giving me enough details. Oh, so these demonic figures pop up, and now Alex is hanging in the attic. So I'm guessing their method of murdering most of these people is going to be hanging. So I think the person who's going to have to slit throat would be Paul, because he's the only one that isn't that comatose state. Oh, so these demonic figures pop up, and now Alex is hanging in the attic. So I'm guessing their method of murdering most of these people is going to be hanging. So I think the person who's going to have to slit throat would be Paul, because he's the only one that isn't that comatose state. Pause, because Sarah in this interview, at the end of the interview, she asked for a break, or not the end, she asked for a break, and they take the mic off. I guess she thinks she's not being recorded. And she's like, you should really try to see the hotel. She's trying to persuade them to go to this hotel. So I'm guessing she's fucking possessed, because how the hell did she get out with no scratches or anything on her? And, her job is to lure people back in. That's cool as fuck. Yo, this movie is good. So during this, They're like, it's close to the end of the movie. This people who are doing the documentary go to the hotel, but one of them stays behind to go see the footage that Sarah dropped off. But when they tell her, the front desk, if Sarah asked for them, they stepped out. They don't have a record of Sarah being there. They don't have a room number that she stayed in. I have such a weird feeling right now. Like, this is so good. I'm actually hooked on this. I can't wait to watch part 2. And it's not done yet either. Holy shit, I'm fucking stupid. This movie's not done yet. I'm still watching this scene, but they said the only person to make it out alive was the dude who hung himself in the hotel room. So why the fuck do they think Sarah's alive? Sarah has to be dead, right? Right? Like, I'm not stupid right now, am I? Yeah, Paul killed Sarah. He just, like, stomped her to death. Paul killed Sarah. So, who the fuck is it? A fucking demon? Yo, this movie. I got like 5 minutes left, not even. So they break into the house, the apartment, hotel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and they're exploring, seeing all the blood and the props and everything, and they get to this one room that says 2C, which is where Sarah and her boyfriend were staying when they were still alive.